and it's an idea that me and Will have actually talked about before on the podcast, doing two different kind of areas of performance, we'll call it. And it's very interesting you said more like CrossFit-y style fitness, which for me screams work capacity versus razor sharp knife edge performance. Mm-hmm. So the quote is from it's not so much a quote by an ancient Greek general called Philopoemen, who was born in 253 BC in Megalopolis. I think I'm saying that right. And it was not actually what he said, but it's what people recorded in written history. I think it was the book I think it was actually from was Aratus 8. I hope I got this right, but they were speaking about his athletic performance, and because he was going into the military, and they were commenting on his fitness, and they said, you should take a wrestler now. And he said, this is the quote, was, they told him that the habit of body and mode of the athletes and soldier were totally different, and particularly that their diet and training were not the same, since they required much sleep, continuous short fits of food, and fixed periods of activity and repose in order to preserve or improve these conditions, which the slightest influence or the least departure from routine is apt to change for the worse, whereas the soldier would be conservant with all sorts of regularity, all sorts of inequality, and above all should accustom himself to endure a lack of food easily, and as easily a lack of sleep.
I like that, because I'll be honest, like as much as I enjoy my fitness and stuff like that, routine just isn't my forte. I would love to, for instance, if I do a big challenge, I am probably not training for that challenge specifically until maybe a month before. I don't know, the deadline of it just puts me in gear properly. And again, with nutrition and dieting, I've taken on this kind of metaphoric kind of understanding of my own diet, and just going, you know what, if you train what you put in, to counteract what you're putting in, and train with it, essentially you can eat what you want, and I do stick to that. I don't really structure my diet around what I'm doing. And that kind of stems from the survival mentality as well, because let's face it, if the world goes to shit, which is looking more likely every day, right? If the world goes to shit, essentially you're going to be on tin food or whatever it may be. Not saying I'm this kind of what do you call them?
Prepper.
I'm not a prepper, right?
Yeah.
But I'm open-minded to suggest that the world could go into that way.
Yeah.
So I like kind of testing and intermittently fasting. That's probably what I do most. And like people say to me, you haven't eaten all day, and it's like, I'm the one who's going to probably survive out. If I get hungry, I'm probably not going to starve for long, kind of thing, or I'm used to that feeling, and it probably stems from back in the day when I didn't have a lot of food and stuff like that. It was like, okay, I'm hungry, but I've still got to make ends meet, essentially. So I think that's my stubborn mentality on what I do now.